Jonesy, the last day of the Flemington Carnival is here, and we've previewed it all.
Yes. We think the track's going to play a certain way, but you'll have to listen to the podcast to figure that out. There's also a lot of people who are smarter than us, who've done a lot more racing form than us, who'll probably be saying the same thing, I would suggest. No, really looking forward to it. They're stacked fields, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to have a bet this weekend, do it with Team Orange, Neds. Just like the States, they're Team Orange now.
Do you reckon he has a Ned's profile? I reckon he would.
Yeah. He probably uses the Ned's app for his Face ID. Donald Trump. Unbelievable. Anyway.
Yeah, speaking of profiles, might have seen an Akita sushi on there or something on Tuesday, amongst other things that didn't go that quick. But the beauty of it is that you can follow us in and you can turn a pretty little profit. So jump on your Neds app, follow us on your profiles, Hutch on the drift, Jonesy on the drift, and have a bit of fun and do it responsibly.
Let's do this, mate.
But what are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
I need to ask you a question. Be curious, drifters.
Mr. Brightside spins them up and wins again. Zardozi wins the Oaks for J-Mac. The photo finish. Mr. Brightside or Romantic Warrior.
The mare's going, great guns, Fangirl. Look at her go, Fangirl.
Imperatrice has got her. And raced on by Imperatrice by a length.
Overpass, more Baker's Delight in Perth.
Radina just won it, I'd say. Tom Ketton won the spring champion in a cakewalk.
Without a fight, won the Caulfield Cup.
Another spring done and dusted, just like that.
God. I feel like I've been done and dusted as well. You were saying it after the podcast on Wednesday. You're like, it gets to this time and you know it's this time.
Yeah.
For us drifters, like, you know, we put our heart and soul into this. And, you know, when you put your heart and soul into something for a busy spring period, it tends to leave you pretty empty inside sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you know, there's only so many races you can cover.
Yeah.
Preview and review. So I'm just looking back. We've been going this year since the 10th of January. That was episode 179. We're up to this would be 248.
Holy dooly.
So that's 69 episodes.
Chee-hoo.
Didn't even plan that. 69 episodes.
69.
Yeah.
69 of them.
Yeah.
Wow. 69 episodes is a fair few, isn't it?
And we're going to be chipping away because, you know, there's a Rupert Clark for some forsaken reason.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Makes no sense.
Like, I can understand where the WA Carnival's coming from, right? But we've been over this time and time again. Should just be one day with two or three of those races on. Yep. One day. And I'd love to see Overpass there. What did you say?
So weird that Overpass didn't run well yesterday. So weird. What was he doing there, mate?
I don't know what he was doing there.
What was he doing there?
I don't know. Speechless. What was the highlight for you?
More Baker's Delight in Perth. Tell you what. The highlight for me, I'm going to give the guy his flowers. James McDonald. He is so much better than everyone else.
Yeah.
So much better. And we've got elite jockeys, as you know, all over Australia. And to get to the tippy top if you're riding every Saturday, Metro Melbourne or Sydney, like you're an elite jockey.
Absolutely you are.
And he's so much better than them, mate.
Yeah, I know. Especially for whatever reason, the Flemington Carnival.
Yeah, because he's big dog.
And
big dog got to eat, mate. Can't perform like a little baby boy pup if you want to be a big dog.
He did say, he's like, I am blessed.
I am blessed
because he acknowledges it. He knows he gets the best horses.
Yeah,
but he still has to get him over the line, and he does have an innate ability to lift him.
Mate, that ride on Sunshine in Paris, mate.
That was one that that was like, oof, there we go. That was that I was watching it by myself and it took my breath away. It was that good.
It was that good, mate. And he got hinged home. And he was putting some work into her.
that final furlong, he was putting some serious work into it.
As Dennis Cometti would say, centimetre perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was brilliant. 1,000 days. If you're going into Hinged, full credit to you.
Full credit to you.
You sicko.
Yeah. I can understand if you never backed her and that was the first time you did, like, well done. But I just couldn't possibly, because it'd be like backing Vedad the other day. Vedad. And he ran second again at like $2.25. Like, you can't, that's so toxic. You just, he could win at $2.25, but say if you're putting your $20 bet on, you're only getting $40 back. It's not really worth your time.
And that was Hinged, 30th start in between drinks? Like, you can have the $3.40.
You can have the $3.40.
Yeah. That's the way we view things.
You can have it, mate.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like sometimes we get it right, other times we get it wrong, but when we get it wrong, we kind of put our hands up, we acknowledge it, we move on.
Yeah, because that's horse racing, mate.
Exactly.
Like,
how many races did you, your dad and your brothers watch yesterday?
So many, mate. Like, so many. They were back in Get Out Mick, who won at 10-1 in Alice Springs. So, that's the sort of sport we were playing yesterday, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. But yeah, even Dad turned to me. He's like, "Geez, J-Mac's so good." I was like, "Yeah," and I think I was, a few sherbets deep at this point, but I think I said, I was like, "Look, it's like Michael Jordan, who's, you could argue he's the GOAT, full stop, any sport." He was playing against people who were elite at their sport, but he just stood out every single time. So, he's so much better. And J-Mac is, I think he's that for jockeys. Mm-hmm. Okay. He's so much better than everyone else. And he's got 104 Group 1s, mate. He's our age.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Of course you can.
No Blake Shin, no Jamie Carr. Joe Moreira was in Sydney.
The Magic Man.
Who did some of his best work.
He did some of his best work.
Does that diminish it at all?
No.
Slightly?
No, because Blakey Bill was there on Derby Day and he got one home. And that's all he needed to get home.
Yeah.
So, bro rode 11 winners.
Yeah, I know. And,
what the hell, man?
And they've cut back the amount of races as well. Was it 37 or 38 this year?
I'm not sure.
I reckon it might have been 37. But in previous, I think it was last year or the year before, it was either 39 or 40. So he's had to, strike, in terms of strike rate, that's increased significantly. So I think he holds first, equals second with Brent Pebble, and maybe third.
Brent Pebble.
Yeah. There was some, I don't know if you saw it, and you probably wouldn't have, if you were at the pub, you would have been watching Sky. But on the Channel 9 footage, which, might I add, Billy Slater.
He's a gem, isn't he?
What a man.
Mate, and I reckon he's a bit of a fine wine, isn't he? He's looking good, Bill.
Yeah.
He's looking great.
Bit of salt in that pepper.
Full head of hair, though.
Yeah.
Hairline's strong.
Yeah, and he commands a presence when he's on a pony, which I like to see. But it was some of the best footage I've ever seen in slow-mo. And because I was, after J-Mac rode that Godolphin winner in the last, I was fully expecting him to just go like he always does. But
like he just dunked on you.
But to his credit, he was very restrained. But Mark Zara was on, I don't know, Zolfika or whatever the other stablemate was for Godolphin. And he stood out because he had the bright blue silks on. And he was just standing up in the irons, and there was a jock next to him. And I think I read his mouth going like, "Fucking J-Mac." And then the jock just turned to him and smiled. He's like, "He's too good, bruh."
Mark.
Yeah. It's like he just went, "Fucking J-Mac."
Well, Mark even has, he's made comments around like, I'll just guess I'll get whichever one J-Mac decides to jump off. Like he's like, I know I'm below him in the pecking order.
Yeah.
And we love Mark, but he's not J-Mac.
No, but
so good.
This is the way I view it, right? I have it's probably jockeys that they just give me more confidence And it's probably from like poor barriers, or if I'm like, ooh, I might need a good steer here, or if they might need to find a position. Mark's one of them. Blake is one of them. J-Mac's obviously one of them. You just probably don't necessarily get the tax on those guys, which you do for J-Mac. But J-Mac also rode 11 of 37 races.
If you just backed every single time J-Mac was riding a horse, and he wasn't riding a horse in the Melbourne Cup, so he didn't have a horse in every race. If you backed him every single time, you would have been walking away from Cup Week being like, geez, I've had a profitable week.
Yeah.
And that's insanity.
Yeah.
That is insanity.
Yeah.
He's so good. Just not enough words to describe how good he is. And like, he can be arrogant, but I think so he should be. If you're that much better than everyone else, I think you have the right to be.
Oh yeah, he can back it up. I saw footage on World Horse Racing. Good Instagram account if you don't follow it.
Okay,
so
I don't follow it. So
has footage from like they basically during this week they were interviewing like Lindsay Park. They were interviewing like the jockeys, and they were giving just like little behind the scenes footage. And there was footage of where Veer Sistina came into the mounting yard, and I think he might have been talking to Vin Cox, or I don't think it was Waller, but he came in and he's like, she would have won the Melbourne Cup by 10 lengths. He said that when she came back. He's just like, fuck, mate, this thing's just so much better than everyone else.
Yeah.
She was super.
She was super again, wasn't she? I backed her. Did you guys back her? I did. I had that winner. Nah, I didn't have a bet in the race, Drifters, but you didn't need to. She was so good. First thing I said to you after the race, and guess what, Drifters? It wasn't a text saying, geez, she's good. It was, geez, without a fight's good. Mate, he ran super.
Mate, he blew out to about $17 about 20 minutes before the race, backed into about 12s.
Yes.
So there was some market support for him.
That's an each-way bet to nothing. He's the class horse in the race outside of Veer Sistina. To do that first up against horses who are well into their prep,
mate.
Bro, 2,400 metres wait for age over in Hong Kong. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Like, I just wanted to see that from him.
He did exactly what you wanted to see from him. What do you want to see from him without a fight? Run on into third.
Yeah. He didn't have that explosive turn of foot. Now, I'm going to give him some leeway. Over a year off, nicking a tiny little tendon, probably fat. Like,
bro, chubbier than I was coming back from the UK. Yeah. And all I was doing was drinking Guinness and eating pies.
Like, let's run through this field, right? Veer Sistina, what? A Wink Stakes into a fail in the Mackay Diva, winning the Turnbull, braining him in a Cox Plate, braining him here. So that was her 5th run of prep. A Tissue, probably more. 5th or 6th run without a fight, 1st run. Future History, 4th or 5th run. Arapaho, the same. Docklands, fresh off the plane. Well, not fresh anymore. He had a gutbuster in the Cox Plate. I reckon he would have run better in the Champions Mile. Funny that.
Yeah, funny that.
Deny knowledge, my on top selection. What happened to that leader bias? That was almost non-existent.
We actually need to talk about that. It was non-existent. From on Oaks Day and on Saturday, it was non-existent. I was like, you're kidding me.
But this is the thing, right? Like, do your own research.
Yeah. See
the tea leaders. That's how I was reading things. Did I have a bet on Deny Knowledge? You can check my Ned's profile. No, I don't bet on without a fight. More our sentimentality than anything. Elias, what a fall from grace for this horse. Honestly, first thought, best thought.
Oh, when you change the prep midway through, it just. I just don't know. And that stable, they're not doing super well. I haven't checked the numbers. That's anecdotally off the top of my head what I'm vibing. I don't think they've been doing super well, that stable at the moment.
Yeah, no. That's probably a fair assessment. Yeah. Duke DeCessa, Wet Tracker, that horse, the Caulfield Cup winner, and Royal Champion. Oh, he's obviously not up to this grade, which is disappointing. And then Nugget. What was he doing there? So to your point, I think that was an excellent trial, and he's picked up $270,000 for third, heading to Hong Kong. So love to see it. Definitely needs the 2400, I think, because he just didn't have that kind of ping that we were expecting. So he might be a slightly different horse this time in, but still outstanding.
Absolutely. And I hope he comes back, and I hope he runs in a Tancred.
Yeah.
And this is the point I was talking to you about when we were doing when we were moulding our own Group 1 racing calendar. We were the pattern committee. I don't know how long ago that podcast was, but probably 12 months ago, you'd think? Maybe longer? Yeah. Maybe earlier this year, I can't remember. And I said, how good would it be if we had another weight for age race that was longer than 2,000 metres aside from the Tancred? Because imagine if the Champions Day ended with a 24, 25, whatever it is, weight for age race at Flemington, and then you could run your Cox Plate horses into that. You can, like, your Without a Fights, your Caulfield Cup winners. It's something for them, and it's also like your Without a Fights. Now that he's won the Caulfield Cup and the Melbourne Cup, like bro's lugging weight and handicaps, right? And he could probably still put him away with top weight pretty comfortably. But I'd love to see a genuine stayer against other genuine stayers at equal weights just to put them to the test. So I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Especially because, with all due respect to the Tancred, probably hasn't garnered the quality of field that we were probably hoping.
No. Whereas, if that Champions Stakes on the weekend, if that was 2,500 metres, let's say, for that much prize money, I would have loved to have seen Viasasina stretch out 2,500.
Yeah, and automatically you have the likes of a Tissue, probably Docklands. They're the main two, but, they finished, second and sixth. They dropped back to the mile. And then that mile contest is even more fascinating.
Absolutely. So, and all those Northern Hemisphere imports, aimed at a Melbourne Cup, they might look at that and think, hey, let's stick around and run in that as well. So, you're creating some international form lines as well, if that's what you want to see. I think that'd be a good idea. Will it ever happen? No.
That Group 1 calendar reshuffle is episode 175, Shaking Things Up. That's the name of the episode if you wanted to go back and have a listen. Let us know your thoughts. How would you reposition the Group 1 calendar as us two as the pattern committee? We're open to all suggestions. So we touched on Sunshine in Paris in the Champions Sprint.
Mm-hmm.
That was sensational.
She was sensational. She has that in her. We knew that she had that in her. I think the dry track Flemington suits her, and she got J-Mac. So she was neck and neck with Giga Kick down the straight, and I think she was full of more running. But J-Mac saw the wall of horses and was like, well, I need to get my thing going. And he found a gap that wasn't there and went. And Mark on Giga just stayed. So it probably wasn't as assertive or hesitated just for a split second too long. But he finished off pretty well. He, to be honest, he was probably looking like a horse who was looking for a bit further.
Giga Kick.
Yeah. So, because he sort of flattened out and then picked back up and through the line was actually quite strong, but he finished like 6th or 7th, I think.
So he was beaten 2.5 lengths, then it was Overpass beaten 3.5. So Giga Kick beaten back into 7th. Are you given like those from 7th up to first pass marks or ticks, What
was the order of finishing?
So
Wright's Party ran second.
Yeah, well, that was just a horse on grand final day, I reckon. That was where all these are kind of already had their grand finals. So it's like you kind of see a little weird result like this, like Rockin' Horse won this race.
Yeah, yep.
Sunshine in Paris for first, Right to Party, who nearly knocked him off with John McNeil in the saddle. Bella Nips in for third. Stretton Angel, who's been everywhere, I feel. Private Life ran well into 5th. Barraquil into 6th, and then Giga Kick.
I'd give all of them pass marks.
Yeah.
I think so.
And then Overpass.
But I'm not even going to put a cross against his name because bro shouldn't have been there in the first place. He shouldn't have.
Yeah. Estriella, beaten 4. Lady Laguna 4. Bellatrix Star 6, just ended prep.
Yep.
I Am Unstoppable, not up to these.
No. Not up to these at all.
Where are these 3-year-olds at? They're chopping and changing their form a bit.
The 3-year-olds. Like the sprinting 3-year-olds.
All of them.
All of them. Yeah, well, I guess we'll talk about broadsiding in the mile soon, but I think the best 4, finished 1, 2, 3, dead heat for third in the Coolmore, sprinting wise. Switzerland, we saw that. He's the best sprinting colt, best 3-year-old sprinter. Full stop. Like he brained Growing Empire and Lady of Camelot, who ran 3-4 in an Everest around the likes of Bella Nipotina, who's probably our best sprinter. Is she in the top 5 horses? I'm worried about the middle distance ones.
No subsequent winners from the Caulfield Guineas.
I'm worried about the middle distance ones.
You know who might actually have her hoof on the mantle of being the best 3-year-old?
Is she by Castelvecchio?
Aliana.
Well, she'll brain them in 1,000 guineas. And she's by Castelvecchio, which by definition you would think that she could stretch out to 2,000 metres, so you might be right there.
Potentially.
It's for her to make that improvement, going from Sydney down to Melbourne, like she brained them. It's for her to make that improvement in her, 3rd or 4th start. She puts them to the sword in 1,000 guineas, then she's doing that. She's doing the fangirl. But I'm worried about the boys.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the boys.
They're all chopping and changing their form a little bit.
I think Private Life's good. I think Private Life's a good horse. I don't know if he's a sprinter.
I don't know if he's a miler.
Yeah.
And he won the Caulfield Guineas, but on pace bias that day, sedate tempo, he was in the perfect place.
But I am worried about the boys. Broadsiding. I thought he was going to breeze past him in the mile.
Well, James Cummings has suggested that he doesn't get it around on his Melbourne leg. Is that stretching? Because he ran 3rd in Cox Plate, didn't he?
He did.
Beaten 11 legs.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that. I think you're right. And I didn't agree with it initially because he was winning the JJ, but
he beat nothing.
He beat nothing. But I don't think Bros likes a dry track. I think he's not an Animo. Animo is like a put him away in a furlong type operator, whereas broadsiding is more of a just grind them and get away from them.
I don't know.
I think he's better doing that on a wet deck.
Yeah.
Like he's winning the Golden Rose. It wasn't like it was just, I want to give you a race, get away from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Animo didn't really put him away. He kind of got ahead, stayed, and then he kind of like went back to him. Like past the post, they were past him. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. So he, in a furlong, he put the race to bed.
Right.
Even though they'd come back to him, he was going to win. You know what I mean? I think he did what he needed to do. He put him away in a furlong.
Yeah, okay.
Break their hearts. He didn't keep going because Bro was not interested in racing. He wasn't interested in it. Absolute specimen.
Yeah. Barraquil. So in the post race, I think this horse loomed up like he was going to win. To be honest, I feel like half the field loomed up to win this.
Yeah, I thought Barraquil was.
I was like,
up.
I didn't know where to look here. I'm like, I'm on here. I'm not. Bella Nips.
I was like, Bella Nips, right to party.
Yeah, Sunshine in Paris. Bang. But Barraquil, in the steward's report, Benny Allen said he might be suited back around a bend. Now, for a horse to do this at his 8th or 9th start, he commenced racing in May. Like, probably a stretch too far, but you'd much rather see a bottom out of a preparation being beaten just over 2 lengths against some of the best sprinters in the country than what you saw with broadsiding.
Yeah.
So I think into the autumn, whenever those futures markets come out for a William Reed, this is going to be my pony, I think. Because it's, Group 1 status for a race like that. It's going to have the second graders there. I think it's a perfect race for him.
Yep. No, he's good.
He's very good. Bella Nipotina, just an absolute iron horse. She was sensational. Stretton Angel was good. Giggy Kick, a little bit disappointing. But Sunshine Paris, she kind of proved a few things for me. One, dry track. And two, I had this kind of, I don't know, this thought about her that she was better suited, like fresh. That was on the quick backup. So and travel. So it's like, I feel like she's versatile.
She's versatile. She's a good mare, Sunshine in Paris. I feel like I've been on her every single start where she has run second or third and never been on when she's won.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
A bit like that.
It's a bit like that, but it is what it is.
Now, Champions Mile. Mr. B. Back to the top of the tree.
Blinkers on, first time.
At start, 40 or something? Like, seriously. We said it in the preview. This horse is mapped to get the run of the race. And he so did. But I think the obvious fallout of this is the career-ending run of Pride of Jenny, beaten 7 lengths with Benny Melamon.
So Declan was at fault for that, wasn't he?
So based on racing.com figures, they went to the 800 metres 4 lengths below standard. And then from the 8 to the 4, they went 3 lengths below standard. And then they zoomed home. Mr. Brightside ran home the fastest last 200 metres of the meeting in this race.
So Antino's gone super.
Yeah, he's gone great. Couldn't have gone any better.
Couldn't have gone any better. He couldn't have gone any faster.
Whatever race he's in, I'm assuming it's a Hong Kong mile. He'll be getting my cash.
Bro needs to fix his barrier manners though, because he likes to stick around in the gates a little bit. But I knew he'd probably be around last anyway.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. It's like, yeah, it's hard in your mouth stuff. It's a bit of fun, but it's like he's just such a looker, and I also think it's not necessarily a bad thing because he'll be on his Brisbane leg there as well. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's home base for him.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I was on Antino Drifters. I thought I was better. But Mr. Brightside had the run of the race. And I think that was just the difference because a lot of this lot are pretty even. Prior to Jenny, I was watching those sectionals live and I was like, she's no chance. Yeah. You have to flog her. And that's when she's performed at her absolute best. We've said this on the podcast so many times. It's counterintuitive because the only way she's going to win a race like this is she's put these sectionals together time and time again in furlongs and the other horses, it just breaks their heart. If you try and be a bit cute with her and try and even the tempo, it doesn't matter because she doesn't have a sprint. She just has a really nice, good sectional gallop that she can maintain for 1,600 metres that a lot of horses can't. Sit and sprint is you're gifting it to Mr. Brightside. That's what he wants.
Yeah,
you're gifting it to him. Here you go, brother.
Yep. And obviously the horse wasn't right? Bled both nostrils. So it's more, and who's to say that she might have come out of the Cox Plate bucking about and giving all the indication to the stable that she was ready to go. But we saw her in the mounting yard at the Cox Plate. She looked flat. Man, despite that, I still backed her. Just because I thought she was going to be almighty hard to run down. Now, we were talking about Fangirl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you brought this up earlier, this prep for her. Because there's a lot of good judges that classify her as the best miler in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They surely can't have that opinion now because I'm looking at her stats, right? So that would have been her 13th start. for 3 wins at the distance.
Mm.
Mr. Brightside, that was his 20th start at the distance for 12 wins.
Yeah.
Like 12 wins at the mile.
Yeah.
He has to be the best miler in the country, Mr. Brightside.
This was my point that I made weeks ago.
Yeah.
She went out and won that week.
Yeah,
she won the 7 stakes. But
Against who? None of the A graders were there.
No.
That's the thing.
Mate, she was a popular pick in the tipping comp. Broadsiding was the most picked.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Then Fangirl. But I thought she'd run well, though. I thought she'd run well, and she ran third. She ran well.
Yeah,
But is she ever going to have my cash?
This is the thing, right? I think when we and we could probably do this when we have a lot of time to fill, we could do like what's the top 5 sprinters in the country, top 5 milers.
Mm.
She might be just sneaking in these days.
Top 5 milers or top 5 horses?
No, top 5 milers. Maybe. You know?
Yeah, but it's thin.
Yeah.
It's thin, though. Like, Mr. Brightside, just the way we run our races a lot of the time suits him. And when prior to Jenny changed that, it caught him out a little bit.
Mm.
So he's the perfect horse that's taking advantage of our racing style here, and the fact that over 1,600 metres, it's pretty thin. But he's a phenomenal horse. I'm not knocking Mr. Brightside at all, but he's the most consistent. Therefore, he's the one winning the most often. He's got a good racing style, professional. Dry deck, wet deck. We know he prefers a wet deck, but he can still win on a dry, evidently.
Mm. Genuine good force, good for him. Like, only when it gets rock hard. I'd love to see him go to Hong Kong. I think that'd be great.
I think it'd be phenomenal.
Obviously, the Lindsay Park connection there.
Yep.
With David Hayes over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Steffi was good. I think you nailed it with Amelia's Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
I think set up against the mares is...
That's her.
That's the
filly.
Yeah.
Millie.
There's
Nothing wrong with that.
There's a race for Steffi. I don't know what race it is, though.
There is a race for her. I think she is
like a Doncaster or something. She'd be weighted poorly, but I think she potentially might race really well in a race like that.
She's a budget version of Fangirl. Steffi Magnetica.
Yeah.
Doesn't win very often.
Mm.
So she won't have my cash.
Yeah.
Like, people were saying last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever, a week ago, oh, she was a moral beaten in the Golden Eagle. It's like, well, when you're coming from the back of the field, you're going to find some rumps, bruh. Particularly in a race with that many horses in it.
Mm.
Oh, she's ran into 4th again, but it was a good run. Steffi, it's like, yeah, she ran into 4th, mate.
Mm.
You're not even, if you're an each way better, you're not clipping your ticket there, brother. Fangirl, 3 from 13 at the mile.
Mm.
She's not going round at $10, mate.
No. That's a good point.
She'll never have my cash. Steffi will never have my cash.
Mm.
Hold me accountable for that, please, Drifters, because I could change my mind at any point.
But it's all about the setup, right?
It's all about the setup. Antino, I think, probably has a little bit of that about him because he misses the jump. But I think from what we've seen about him, he's found a level now that I think they've unlocked a level in him that he can probably maintain.
But the thing with that horse is that you can hard ride him for almost 1,000 metres.
Mm.
So he can get himself out of trouble. And
like the fact that he nearly won that race, and you're telling me how sedate that tempo is. Like, bro's got a sustained gallop that not a lot of horses do, but I don't think they knew that about him until Blakey Bill did it.
And I think that kind of confirmed the point about Fangirl as well, liking sedate tempos.
Yeah.
And her turn of foot can get her out of trouble.
Yeah.
Because she can sit, maybe 4 lengths off him and pick him up. And it's not, obviously, with her profile would suggest this, it doesn't work every time. But yeah, a really hot speed kind of finds her out a little bit. But yeah, no, Broadsiding was obviously the one that was most disappointing.
Really disappointing.
End of prep, Melbourne leg, good track. There's enough excuses there, I'd say. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Anamo's end of prep runs were pretty terrible.
That is a great point.
So, but he was really disappointing because I don't know what I expected from him in this race, but I had a bet on Antino, like I said, Drifters, but I said to my brothers and dad, I said, I'd like to see Broadsiding win this race. He loomed up. I thought he was going to breeze straight past him because I was looking at the sectionals. I was like, bro, can put this race to bed. But yeah, clearly there's excuses there. But want to see him come back in the autumn as a 3-year-old, obviously. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if he wants to go to a Randwick Guineas and a Rosehill Guineas, like what's going up against him? Like he might not be like the most elite 3-year-old we've ever had, but it's not an elite mob from what we've seen. So he might just be better than him. Will he run on as a 4-year-old and try a Cox Plate again? I'm not sure.
We'll see. Let's hold off the winner on the Group 1 tipping comp. We'll keep them hooked. Let's quickly get through the undercard. So race 3 was the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Smoking Romans.
He would never have
got back into the winner's circle. There was some market support, 13-1.
Yeah, true.
So, J-Mac, obviously, great carnival. I don't think J-Mac's the type of guy to lead on a horse. Like, how he took a sit on Serpentine was baffling to me. Because that horse needs to roll.
Yeah, and he doesn't ride many for Waterhouse Bot.
No.
Because I don't think he is that type of rider.
No.
He's no Timmy Clark.
No. So I think I might learn a lesson there. So yeah, Serpentine was not great. Kinesiology.
Very green. Very green. Sometimes when they come off, fresh off the plane, it just takes a little while for them to acclimatise, and you're sort of gambling on whether they do or not. Like One Smooth Operator and Sea King, for example, like they first run went through the roof and then a little bit flat in the Melbourne Cup. But no, look, I think you forgive him. He raced very greenly, and you see what he's like, this time next year. I thought Buckley Square was going to win this race. He loomed up.
Yeah,
Dad was on him. I was like, "What are you doing?" Never question. He loomed up, but
he's been good this prep.
Yeah, he's been good.
Out now, stayer.
Yeah.
A horse like that, Sydney Cup, I could get interested.
Yeah.
Seriously though.
One for exotics.
Like Brisbane Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's his grade.
Absolutely.
And because he's an enormous thing.
He is so big.
And
like chunky.
Yeah, he's just got an enormous stride on him. And it just looks like he just would go around without having a puff. Like, it just looks like he would just absolutely eat it up. So, he hasn't been one of ours, but to his credit, he never really gets to run over these distances.
No. And look, he's a 5-year-old gelding, and sometimes they can just take their time.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, race...
He's a funny horse. Yeah. He's a funny horse, Barkley.
Yeah. Now, race 4 was the always welcome 1,200 metres listed handicap. Old Ray. I reckon this is a bit of a get out of the casino job by myself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely it is.
Took my cash and I left.
Absolutely. But I could never have. So therefore, I don't mind the result. But if you watch that race, Drifters, and Nadal, on the floor, mate. Oh, Mickey D had so much horse. Oh, my God. So much horse.
Yeah.
And just made a couple of wrong decisions that you couldn't have foreseen, basically. He went this way, that close. He went that way, that close. He's like, So I can confidently say I think if Nadal didn't win, he would have gone mildly close with a bit more luck. Right. Ray was good. Like he's been good this prep, and he deserved to win.
Yeah, he did. Front page, nearly pulled my pants down.
Nearly.
But yeah, he was super. He was obviously the class horse of the race. Was giving Ray 4.5 kilos. So it's like he had to do the donkey work out in front, and J-Mac nearly got him home. Nadal heading, I reckon, that was what you wanted to see for a new market next year. I reckon.
I reckon he's got some talent, Nadal.
Yeah.
Geez, those silks were prevalent this week. Like I've never seen it so much.
No.
The Aussie Key silks.
Yeah, they're
They're like as prevalent, maybe more prevalent than Godolphin. There's a lot of them, mate.
Yeah, them and Yulong.
Yeah,
Yulong
they're on fire. Got Vinnie Cox across, and look what's happened.
Yeah, Brian Bray won the next for race 5 at Flemington, the matriarch with Hinged. We've kind of touched on it.
Do you reckon he bought her at the yearling sales, or do you reckon she raced a few times into him under different ownership, and she won a few times, and then all of a sudden she popped up in those silks? What do you reckon?
The latter.
But to be fair, it's 1,000 days of ours.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
And if you have the cash, you may as well spend it. But yeah, I'm more of a fairy tale type of guy. And yeah, J-Mac rode her 0.5 kilo over as well. You're on Firestorm, just too far back.
Way too far back.
Yeah, I was annoyed with Paddy Maloney on Charisse because she dumped well and he didn't hold the position. I was like, he wanted to be behind the leaders there, and I thought she would have had a good chance. She ran on okay, but she was finishing it back into 8th. But there was market support. I got a ticket for about 60 to 1 on the morning, and she started about 30 to 1. I'm like, oh hello, hello. There's a bit of a sport here, so but yeah, not meant to be.
Can we just have a quick sort of look at this, right? There's a horse who ran 13th in this race, Coco Sun, right? How's she going this prep? Okay, she's okay. So she's come back August. She's ran 7th of 13, 6th of 12, 5 of 8, 15th of 18 in the Caulfield Cup, and she just ran 13th there. She has a Group 1 against her name, Drifters. She has a Group 1 against her name. You've got to question the quality of our Group 1 races when a horse like this is having absolutely no impact as a 4-year-old mare, but she's a Group 1 winner. You've just got to question it.
Where was the Group 1?
Morfordville. Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. And she beat the boys there in the South Australian Derby, so it's like...
That's concerning as well, though.
Yeah, Warmonger into second, and he was disappointing.
He was.
But he was one of the best Group 1 winners we've ever seen after that. So, but yeah, it's a good point because, she ran on behind another wheel in a benchmark 100 first up, and everyone's going like, oh, this horse is in a Caulfield Cup. So many overreactions. And we see it time and time again, right? Because I feel like there's every year in the Melbourne Cup, there's a horse that the stable male and just all the professionals are like, this is one I'm terrified of. This year, and sorry to one of our good mates, Interpretation was that horse. Mm-hmm. I heard that name thrown around everywhere. And I think it finished like 4th last. Yeah. And Coco Sun was one of those for the Caulfield Cup as well.
Yeah. Yeah, she was.
And
she's just not a very good horse. And with respect,
at this level.
Oh, yeah. I would love to own her because she's won a Group 1 and full credit to the connections and the trainers and whatever. I'm not bagging you guys at all. But
Daughter of the Autumn Sun.
Yeah. So I can get around that. She's not a very good horse in this grade, yet she has a Group 1 against her name. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And Pisanello
pissed it in.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Tell you what, this Trapeze Warrior, one of the most beautiful horses I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Giving me Brooklyn Hustle vibes.
Yes. Very Brooklyn Hustle-ish.
Yeah. Son of trapeze artist, obviously. Love to see that. But yeah, nice little finish, J-Mac, just getting the punters home. As Matty Hill said, it's one of the loudest cheers I've ever heard for a benchmark 80, ever. So all of the punters were there. Heard Eddie Maguire actually after the coverage say that this was the highest attended Flemington Carnival since 2018.
How good is that?
And how good did you like because we saw some new camera angles at Flemington. Were you for or against them? I didn't mind them.
I liked it. I liked the coverage. I thought from what I saw, I didn't see a lot of it, but I thought the Channel 9 coverage was really good.
It was great.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Better than Channel 10's.
Yeah.
Dross.
Yeah.
Absolute dross. Francesca, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Gator tries his hardest.
I'm a big Gator guy.
I love Gator. I love
Gator.
Gator.
Yeah.
I love Gator. I think he's just spread a bit thin.
Yeah, he is.
He's spread a bit thin.
Let's put it this way. I think the glory days of Gator was when he had a system, I don't know, 2, 3, maybe 4, and he got he was paying $50,000 on Get On, and he put that out on Get On. Like, imagine how satisfying that would be.
Yeah.
I don't think Gator's had one of them for a while.
No, he hasn't.
And there's a reason for that, because he's doing form in Brisbane and in Adelaide.
Bro, spread too thin.
Yeah.
You've got to hone in on one track, Gator.
He can do it too.
But
he can do it too.
But he's, you know what? Like, he's entitled to be spread thin because he knows his stuff. Oh, it's a good athlete. Yeah, well, these younger athletes. If I had $1 for every time he said athlete this week on the coverage, I'd be richer than what I am now.
Yeah.
Not by that much.
Six top rater.
6th top rater. But he puts himself out there, so good on him. And Billy Slater, isn't he just a gem?
Yeah, he is.
Our coach, our guy,
yeah, not Skip,
coach.
Yeah, we do know a Skip though.
Yep. We sure do.
All right, let's quickly get to anything that was really noteworthy.
In Sydney?
In Sydney. North England was a nice winner of the 2-year-old race.
I thought that was a phenomenal win. Did all the hard work, led, and held them off.
Yep.
For an early season 2-year-old, it could probably be about $5 in futures markets for the Golden Slipper. But I thought that was a really nice win.
Yeah. Carrion Dream was a bit disappointing. No real excuse there. Magic Time was tough. Credit to Darren Flindell. I don't know if you heard this. But he was like, oh, Magic Time. She's done some early work. She's going to have to be gritty to win from there.
Be gritty. Oh, he's having a tough run.
Oh,
the young man.
Yeah.
I love his content. I think it's absolutely elite. And,
But
he's had a tough run, though.
Gamble responsibly. But yeah, Magic Time has been good, just probably hasn't shown her brilliance this prep, I think it's fair to say, but Belclair just, found the front and just controlled it,
Yeah. I think Magic Time is a wet tracker.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
She's like the opposite of Sunshine in Paris.
Yeah.
She's the opposite.
Yeah, well,
can get it done on dry tracks, but she's not going to show her best.
Yeah.
Mate, she won that all-age stakes on a literal swamp.
Yeah, but she also won that Rupert Clark against the bias on a good 3, coming out wide.
That was her best ever run.
So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. But she's also, she knocked off the horse that you liked for Luke Pepper.
Opal Ridge.
Yeah, in Sydney on a wet track as well.
She did.
That was when my love affair with that horse began. The 5 Diamonds. I found out yesterday that the reason why Kingswood was scratched from Moonee Valley was because he had a virus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No. I only found that out yesterday, after I consulted with the source. And I don't know if you saw it, and I'm going to have to rewatch the vision, but my initial thinking was Kingswood I think he was on his Melbourne leg the entire time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't think he got around the city leg at all. So he's done quite well.
Coming off a virus as well. I didn't know that.
To be beaten 2 lengths.
I think I don't think he's a Group 1 star. I'm not saying that, but I think he's a horse who can win black type on Saturdays. But I think that's him.
With the current pattern, mate, he can win a Group 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. True.
This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So Pericles, I give him the dignity of calling him by his right name. Oh, Pericles.
He's a funny horse.
1,800 metres. on the floor. Oh, if you check my profile, I had a little bet on Yellow Brick. I thought I was home. I wasn't.
You did loom up. And again, he's probably a similar profile to your Kingswood.
Who bricked up?
Bricked up.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like you can run in this grade on a Saturday. Is up to that.
Yep.
I don't know if he's an 1,800 metre horse though. I think he's a miler.
Yeah.
But this race was worth $2 million.
Yeah, ridiculous.
What is going on?
I would have loved Matty Sears to have won it on Yellow Brick because Godolphin don't need it. You know what I mean?
No, they don't.
Like, yeah.
No. So yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, you have all these rich races that don't really mean anything, to try and appeal to the owners more and encourage ownership. It's like, well, it's just going to fill the same pockets, just even more so.
Yeah. So like, even the benchmark 78 on Saturday, right in Sydney, worth $160,000. Like, if we were racing, our girl Portsea runs for I think 85 for the same level of races here in Brisbane. So, you get that for first place here with Firestar, who I really wished just wasn't scratched from Derby Day. And then we would have had even more of a fill-up, but that's okay. Beggars can't be choosers.
They really can't be.
Let's get to, we had a question from, I reckon it was Brad Tyson without looking. Who are the top 5 horses in Australia right now? And I think it's a great time to do it because we have a significant amount of sample size. So last time we did a list, you started with number 1 for God.
Yeah, so stupid.
So without further ado, post the spring, done and dusted. What are your top 5 horses in the country right now?
Well, I think the number 1 is like super, super obvious, right? So I'm not going to give it away though. So I think that sorts itself out. I also think number 2 sorts itself out pretty comfortably from what we've seen over the springtime. So for me, it's like, okay, well, what's the next 3, and in what order are they going to fall in? In 5th place, and I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself. Tell me if I am. I think Switzerland's number 5. From what we saw in the Coolmore, putting away Growing Empire and Lady of Camelot, you can tie that form into the Everest. And I'll give you a little hint. There's a horse in my top 5 who won the Everest. If you can tie that in, and it's like, okay, well, if he's up to that grade, maybe better, then he's got to be in the conversation. He's so lightly raced. Unfortunately, we'll probably only see him for another 6 months, but I think he's in 5th place for me.
He was probably first emergency for me. I don't have any 3-year-olds in my list.
Yeah, okay.
So
got a big question mark.
I've
across
massive,
all of them
because they're just chopping and changing. And this is how quick, I guess, our list can change, because he wasn't even mentioned in our top 5 3-year-olds list.
No.
10 weeks ago, whenever that was, but that was after a dross first up run.
It was Dross. But how he came back to do that is Chris Waller's just a genius, isn't he?
Yeah, outstanding. So I think based on his last 2 runs, like, I think he is currently top of the tree of the 3-year-olds.
Yep.
But
you think there's 5 better?
But yeah.
Yep.
I have 5 better.
Yeah, okay.
So in 5th position for me, no other horse in the country could have done what this horse did yesterday, and that's without a fight.
He's number 4 for me.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And that's with brownie points from last year, because he did the Cups double. Was he toppy in the Melbourne Cup? Or second? No, Gold Trip would have been.
Vauban might have been. Gold Trip Vauban without a fight, I reckon.
Yeah, okay. So he was still lugging enough, right? I saw that yesterday. I was like, how good is he? He's so good.
Yeah.
But it's also a testament to how thin our ranks are at the moment, that a horse who's run once this year is in 4th position for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's just one of the best. Number 4, Mr. Consistency, Mr. Brightside. Number 3.
Number 3 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's the best miler in the country. Right? And I think he's the one that more often than not is going to either win or run top 3. And he proves that time and time again.
Do you have his Group 1 stats available? Like how many starts and...
I can get them up.
Just because you're right, he's so consistent. When was the last time he put in a performance where like, oh, that stunk?
Maybe the Cox Plate?
And he ran 4th.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's not a 2,000 metre horse. He was in my numbers though.
Group 1's 22 starts. I don't know if this is including what happened yesterday, but I think he might be 23 starts, 8 wins, 6 seconds, 2/3.
8, 6, 14, 16 from 23.
And that's not including All-Star Mile, which is one as well.
True.
So basically, 9 Group 1s.
It's elite.
Yeah.
It's elite. He's a great horse. And he's an iron horse. Number 3 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, number 3 for me is Bella Nips.
Number 2 for me.
Yeah, okay.
Bella Nips is number 2 because she's the sprinting equivalent of Mr. Brightside.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I think at the moment you have to give her the mantle of the best sprinter just by default. But I think that's in an era of a pretty weak sprinting bunch. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's had the prep to basically, in those key races, she's had the perfect setup as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Weakest Everest ever, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. So, everything is with a grain of salt. Number 2 for me, you clearly don't have this horse in your numbers. It's Cheerwolf.
Oh, yeah, true.
And I think the reason why he's rated so highly for me, I can see this horse winning Group 1s from 1,400 metres to 2,400 metres.
Mm.
Really realistically.
Yeah.
So I could see him going out and winning a CF4, but I can also see him winning a Tancred.
Yeah. Here's a case of out of sight, out of mind for me, Cheerwolf. So that's my bad, Drifters. But yeah, like he's first emergency for me now. I think second emergency is probably Antino after what he did in the Toorak and nearly winning that race against the pattern. Like that's clearly a horse who's going to be performing better than what he has recently in the future. But yeah, Cheerwolf, mate. Where are we to be able to sit off a tempo like he did in the King Charlie and show that the turn of foot at the end of that? That's the elite turn of foot that you see from the best Group 1 horses in Australia because it gets you out of trouble in a slowly run race, but it also he's got the set of lungs that he can sit off a hot tempo and put them away.
You know that what that win actually reminded me of was without a fights, either he had 2 of them. The Lord Mayor's win over 1,800 metres first up, I was like, I forgot about this horse. And then again in the Q22 where he just exploded. That's what that reminded me of. And I think this horse he's something serious.
Yeah, and I think we've spoken about it on the podcast all the bloody time. 4-year-olds, geldings, they can just take a little while, and once they figure it out and put it all together, then that's when they start to be a lot more consistent.
He would have only been gelded like 3 or 4 months ago.
Exactly. Mr. Brightside won his first Group 1 at Doncaster with 50 kilos on his back, and he was like 20-1. But before that, he was winning races for fun in lesser grade, and he worked his way through the grade. Like the Hayes boys have placed him beautifully his entire career.
Yep.
And he was 4-year-old when he won the Doncaster. Then he came, and then he went through to a Cox Plate, I think, as a 5-year-old, and he graduated into those Group 1 races, but was not doing super well. And then I think as a late season 5-year-old, that's when it started to click, and as a 6-year-old, that's when he had that phenomenal prep last year, leading into his second in the Cox Plate. So if we've seen that from Cheerwolf as a fresh gelding, bro's going to be something special in 12 months' time, you would think. And Joe Pride, I think, has said the right things about this horse, being like, I'm going to follow the traditional path to get him into a Cox Plate because I want to win that race, which is great to hear because you don't want Bro to be in anything else.
Yep. And number 1 has to be Via Sistina, and I think she might have has one from 1,400. If she hasn't won up to 2,400, she she could do that easily.
Yep.
So best Cox Plate winner of all time, So
Numero uno.
number one.
Numero uno.
So other emergencies for me, right? Buckaroo, if he has another prep like he had, I think he enters the conversation.
Absolutely.
And Tino, as you mentioned, if he goes overseas and does that. Step below these, I have Lady Shenandoah is probably another 3-year-old that we've kind of forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
And Aliana of those two. Steffi Magnetica probably rung below with another Will. Zardozi, she,
To do that as a 4-year-old mare in the Melbourne Cup, she was giving weight to Knight's Choice and the likes of. You got to remember, not a lot, but she had 51, and I don't think they're well treated at the weights 4-year-old mares.
Yeah.
No, she's a mare. I could honestly, I think she has a Sydney Cup win in her. I think she has a Melbourne Cup win in her potentially, which she needs to improve.
Yeah.
Because she can clearly stay.
Yep.
Clearly.
And I think the one that we underrate a little bit is a Tissue as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a little bit better than Amelia's Jewel.
Yep. I don't think we've missed any. Sunshine in Paris, maybe.
Yeah, Sunshine in Paris, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. She
You know,
could win yesterday.
has dropped right out of the top 10 and is potentially struggling to get in the top 20 as I wish I win.
Yeah, he can run on a bit.
It's if Bro gets back to the racetrack, it's kind of up in the air for him. So,
Yeah, well, he owes Peter Moody and what's that stud stuff? Wakata stud. Nothing. Zero. Owes them absolutely zero. But the beautiful thing about horse racing, Drifters, I don't even know who Aliana was a matter of weeks ago. Didn't even know. And she could be a weight for age mare this time next year. That's the best thing about horse racing.
well, what did we say? Was it prior to, we was talking about some horse early this season, about a year in equine terms.
It's a long time.
Because prior to Jenny had established herself as basically a 2-time fluke this time last year. We were probably saying the exact same on this podcast. Had the conditions to suit. 12 months down the line, she's probably been one of the best things that we've seen for our weight for age ranks since we've been covering this.
Mm-hmm.
Just these absolutely blistering paces that she sets.
Yep. Gets the people up and about, gets people to the track.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Pride of Jenny. Say what you like about, the connections and what have you, and, will she, won't she, all that sort of stuff. That's not her.
She doesn't know who she's owned by.
Exactly. I love the bold front running style. Love Pride of Jenny, and I always will. Being at Moonee Valley that night when she won the Fan, a Group 2 race.
Yeah.
4 horses in it.
Yeah.
A pretty elite form out of that race.
One of the best races I've ever seen.
One of the best races I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So you can't hate the horse for that.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So she had a good career.
Great career.
7-year-old mare. What the hell?
So is Via Sistina. So is a Tissue. I think Mr. Brightside might be a 7-year-old.
He's 7. Antino 6. So you don't see very often something from a 3-year-old be good until it's 7. That's why things like Winks, that just doesn't happen. So yeah, it's a year is a long time in equine terms.
Yeah. Well, who won our inaugural tipping competition?
Drum roll, please. Maddie Godoyne. Godoyne. If that's how you pronounce your name, bruh. Congratulations, mate. Absolutely blew them out of the park. Finished with 40 points in total. I have to calculate what his average was across each of the races. But he's been consistent the entire time. I think he's been in the top 3 the entire time. Picked up another 6 points yesterday. Let me just quickly check to see who he had.
Via
You would have had Via, obviously.
Right side.
Maybe he did, yeah. Let's have a look-see. No, he had Bella for 1 point. He had Antino for 2 points.
Dang.
And then Via Sistina for 3, so that's where he got his 6 points from.
Consistency is key.
So 40 points, tied for second place. Ben Pace, 36, and Jordan Sondergeld, 36 as well. And then behind them, Lewis White with 35. Sean Melbourne, 32. Greg Schaaf, 30. Victorian Victim, 29 points. and then it sort of goes from there. But well done, Matty Gordoin. We've got your email address, so we can be in touch that way. But otherwise, if you're listening, well done, brother. You've got a gorilla coming your way.
Bang.
So I'll reach out to you, mate, via email. If you wanted to respond with some deets, we can get you hooked up. Well done, mate.
Well done.
And thanks to the good people at Ned's. Just thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks heaps, guys. But
Thanks for participating.
Yeah, thank
well.
you.
Really appreciate it.
If we can, if you want us to do it next year, we'll take your thoughts under advisement.
Yes, if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, let us know, please. We'll absolutely do it again in the autumn. And we'll do something similar. Like we won't do it for all the Group 1s. We'll probably find like a 4 to 6 week period where it's going to be good pretty much every week and go from there, which we will be afforded, I'd say.
Yeah. Things usually heat up from about Blue Diamond Day.
Yeah.
Because,
Slipper Day.
Blue Diamond Day has the Diamond, Oakley Plate, and there's another one.
And then I guess we probably have to take it all the way through to Day 2 of the Champs in Sydney.
So there might be, I don't know, conservatively like 40 Group 1s.
There's like 10. There's 10 on Golden Slipper Day. So no, yeah. If you want to do it again, Drifters, yeah, absolutely. Let us know. We're happy to do it again. I think it was a resounding success. So thanks for your participation. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, 65 minutes at the best. Crikey.
Sheesh.
All right. Next week we have Group 1, don't we? Is that the Rupert Clark next week? Yeah. And the 1,000 guineas.
Yeah.
And the Hunter, mate. Don't forget about that. And then we've got the Railway, the Gong, the Winterbottom, and then the Northerly. And then we can have a little spell.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 3 or 4 weeks left of our mugs. And then we'll have a little spell, and then we'll come back in 2025. But we'll see you Wednesday for the Rupert Clark and the 1,000 guineas.
See you, Drifters.